Well, thanks for staying with us. It's time to just give you the headlines for today. In some of our national dailies, we have the Business NG, Vanguard, the Nigerian Tribune, and the Punch newspaper. All of these newspapers carry one major headline, which is Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers State. Suspends Fubara for 6 months. PDP kicks vows legal battle. It's the same on Vanguard. That's from Business NG. Vanguard, tension as Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers. And on the Nigerian Tribune, Tinubu puts Rivers under emergency rule. Emergency rule, that's on Punch now. Soldiers, tanks move into Rivers government house. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more in detail after now, maybe as the program continues later on, but I don't even want to talk about it at this moment. But every headline, every newspaper carried this headline: Nigeria is witnessing a state of emergency. It's not the first time. It has happened in other states before, like Plateau, for instance. It happened before. The circumstances that led to that may be different, but you know, everything that borders on national security is good enough for a state of emergency to be declared. But whether the threats in Rivers were good enough or strong enough for that is yet to be determined. But we will have someone who might interpret the law better than us talk on the issue later on in the program. We also have other headlines here on the Business NG. NNPC pledges effective use of PIA funds for Bayelsa communities. We also have Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Akume, denies involvement in AIDS alleged money laundering investigation. Senate to Facebook, X, Instagram, establish local offices in Nigeria. Okay, that's a good move when you have a company that is making so much money from our country. It's only right that you have an office here. That means it will give us the opportunity to collect tax from you, and opportunity also to get employment for some of our people. And then we can regulate you even better because you are here, you have a presence here in our country. DMO to auction 300 billion naira bonds at 1,000 naira per unit on March 24. So you are an investor, you want to do something, this information is for you. March 24, that bond, 300 billion naira bonds will be auctioned at 1,000 naira per unit. If you have the business mind, you will understand what will happen then. So do your best to be a part of it. 15 years on, AMCON's battle to recover 1.9 trillion naira debt deepens. Read that on the Business NG. It's on the front page. It starts there and continues on page 2 of the Business NG. On Vanguard, we already know that Rivers is the leading headline here. Delta Governor, Oil Minister's orders for Vanguard local content conference in Warri today. Okay. Lawyers, Atiku judge, orders fault emergency rule declaration. So stakeholders are faulting that emergency rule that has been declared by the president. You can read that on page 8 on Vanguard. Bill mandating Facebook bloggers orders to have offices in Nigeria passes second reading in Senate. We already have had that in the Business NG. Tinubu lacks powers to suspend a governor. That's according to PDP. Federal government confirms 400,000 tuberculosis cases in 2024. Our quote for today was health is the relationship between your body and relationship between you and your body. We hope that if you're having that cough for 1 week or 2 weeks or highest 3 weeks, whether it's dry or productive, you will find a way to have yourself tested. I think for now, tuberculosis testing and treatment are still free in government-owned hospitals. So whether they're free or not, it has to do with your life. And I think the earlier you find out whether it's the one and start the treatment, the better for you. So if you have been having that cough for some time now, It doesn't matter how healthy you are in the rest of your body. If you don't care about yourself, you care about the people around you, because you might be spreading it unknowingly. Drinking water from the same cup, coughing in public, and so many other things that can help in the spread of this disease. So if you don't think about yourself, think about others. But if you think about yourself at all and you have a relationship with your body, it means that you will have to go and find out why you're coughing the way you're coughing. 400,000 is not a small thing. Wike revokes land housing PDP's new National Secretariat complex. Revocation attempt to silence opposition, according to PDP. It's just unfortunate that it coincided with, more or less, with the declaration of state of emergency. I don't know where the PDP will go and sit to fight this legal battle. It's as if they don't have a house. Will you be thinking about a place to put your head, or you'll be thinking about to go and fight a battle outside? I don't know. So there is problem everywhere from all fronts for the PDP. We move to the the Nigerian Tribune. Senate probes annexation of Nigerian mangrove islands, 2,560 oil wells by Cameroon. There's been this cry that some communities in Nigeria are being annexed by Cameroon. They have taken over these communities, and these communities have oil wells as well, so which means Nigeria is losing revenue to Cameroon, and something needs to be done about it. Till now, a lot of Nigerians do not understand what happened in the judgment that gave some communities of Cross River to Cameroon, and the National Assembly, I think, is looking for a way for that judgment to be reviewed and something to be done about the loss of so many communities like Bakassi, for instance, to the Cameroons and all that. Okay, or parts of Bakassi. 15 billion euro or pounds petrol union case. Attorney General steps in. That's on page 12. Ogun government sets March 31 deadline for headers registration. That is on page 5. UBA launches Africa Guards. Explosion rock Trans-Niger pipeline in Rivers. Police arrest 2. That is on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. And finally, we have stories from the Punch newspaper. Federal government deducts states 800 billion naira allocation to pay foreign debt. If we had our guest this morning, I would have just asked the guest, why would you rob Peter to pay Paul? If this is right, I don't know how it is. Allocation of the state government. Who collected this debt? Was it the state governments that collected the debt, or was it the federal government that collected the debt and is now using state funds to pay this debt? We would have found out now. But you can read that on page 27 and find out whose liability is being met by this money, 800 billion naira that is being deducted. Attacks on discos, Nigerian army is lawless. That's on page 22. Remember that story where the army marched into what we call NEPA office, and assaulted a lot of people because their light was cut off. And I wonder why federal government establishments are owing these people, which means money is really hard. So if federal institutions, including Rock, will be owing the power holding companies, then what do you think about the individuals that are finding it difficult to even feed? So it should advise us that people are suffering if federal government establishments will be owing in billions of naira. What about individuals? Fuel import, NNPCL loses bid to stop Dangote's 100 billion naira suit. Finally, reps passed Tinubu 4 tax bills. You know that tax bills have had, has been a bone of contention for some time now, but finally the bills are passed. We do hope that the major ingredients that would revolutionize the tax system in Nigeria were not touched, were not removed from there, because a lot of people might be worried about these tax reforms because of how it might affect them, and not thinking about the bigger picture, how it will affect Nigeria and maybe make things a little bit better for the citizens. So we do hope that those critical aspects of the tax reform bills were not changed, or if they were changed, I hope they were changed for the better. That's my hope. So finally it has been passed. Let's see how it is going to help Nigeria generate more revenue without necessarily taxing the Nigerian populace to death. Then we also have stories about the fact that Libya is to deport over 170 Nigerians. I wonder what we look for and go to Libya. National Assembly probes Cameroon's alleged encroachment on Nigerian islands. We've talked about that. And porting, 9 Mobile accused of blocking subscribers from switching operators. That's on page 28. That's about it on the Punch newspaper, and that's all we can take for Off the Press today. Go get a newspaper or buy data and subscribe, and then go to the internet and read up on things that are happening in Nigeria. We usually encourage people get to know what is happening in Nigeria so that you can also contribute your quota. Because if you're arguing on the street, you're trying to give advice, you're trying to even abuse the government, you need to know what they are doing or not doing. You need to know what is happening where and why it is happening for you to be informed enough to change Nigeria for the better. Every individual has the potential to change Nigeria, just like every individual has the potential to change the entire world. The rights of the black women and the black people in America was changed by one woman because she did not accept to stand up when she was asked to give up her seat for a white woman or a white person, things like that. So you can change the world by an act that is deliberately aimed at making sure things get better. But be sure it's positive and you're not selfish about it. Well, like I said, that's all we can take on Off the Press today. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll be looking at other issues. Stay with us.